family that it's time to prioritize that. One of the ways that we give our best to the children is by making sure that we are rested and that we are taking care of ourselves so we are at our best to be with them. That said, I'm going to focus these next few episodes on some nitty-gritty things that do need to be done, but I'm going to keep it short because I know that time is tight for people to either get in that last bit of rest or to actually get ready for the students to return to school. So the focus of this episode is on building community. When you're interacting with adults in your community, the parents, but particularly the staff, which is what I'm going to focus on as I speak with you today, you need to make sure that your way of treating them with respect is equal to the way that we treat the children with respect. And in some ways it is the same. With the children, if you would like them to have peaceful and respectful and appropriate behavior, you need to present what that looks like within the school situation, especially for your newer students. You need to expect that behavior and communicate those expectations, and of course you need to model it. So as you're dealing with your staff, please make sure that you're doing those things. Give them an understanding through your presentations of what it looks like to be a respectful Montessori professional in the classroom, in the community. I'm going to give just a practical tip because I know from experience that this is a challenge for new Montessori teachers, especially those who were traditional teachers in a classroom with the teacher's desk at the front and the desks rather than our Montessori environment. So most of you who have read very much of Dr. Montessori's writings know that that's not the way our classrooms are set up. And she specifically said children don't like teachers' desks. I'm going to show you an alternative that I have set up in each one of my classrooms and explain why I think you need to understand about that. In my classrooms, rather than a desk, I always have a station. This happens to be the little shelf that I have used for my station and will be in the coming school year. For those of you who have been watching recent episodes, you know I'm in the middle of a move. That's the reason the shelf is completely empty and ready to be moved. But this is kind of my little control center. Typically it will have stacker trays up on the top of it for forms that I need to get to. A master notebook that we've talked about would be in here. Reference books, the children's version of the cultural literacy dictionary, books that I let the children use but only when they're sitting near an instructor. Usually if I have any pop-up books in the classroom, I have a great pop-up book on Leonardo da Vinci. That goes here just to kind of control that a little bit more. Also, I'm a big believer in having children checking their own work, particularly older children, and so keys are here, and typically I have it sorted where the things on one shelf are only for the teacher's use, for the adults in the classroom, the educators to use, and the other shelf the children know that they can access within the boundaries that I've given them. If I have a date stamp that I use, if I have special pens of mine, all those things go in that space. Now the reason that I'm telling you this little practical tip in this episode is if you don't present to your educators a way for them to manage their space and to have a space of their own, they're probably going to set up a desk. If you have a kidney table in your classroom, and apparently that is a signal to some people who come and observe in classrooms, maybe regulators or something, that small group work is going on, which obviously should be going on quite a bit in your Montessori classroom with or without a kidney table. But I've seen kidney tables become teachers' desks, and that's not Montessori. So rather than letting those things just sort of fall into place, present from the beginning what you expect. But there's one other piece that I'd like you to remember about dealing with the adults in your community, particularly your core adults, the lead educators in your classrooms, your classroom assistants, your staff members. You need to go beyond just modeling and expectations and presenting. You need to ask. You need to ask what's good. Set that expectation that when you all talk about what's going on, you're going to communicate what's working. You need to ask what's up. Not good, not bad, just what's going on, what's on your mind, and you need to be in a position to accept whatever comes up, whether it's criticism, whether it's worries. Behind what those trusted members of your community say is always something of value. Maybe what they're asking for isn't even possible. So then you need to listen behind that request to the need. Can you address the need even if you have to say no to the specific request? And finally, you do need to always be asking what's needed. What do you need to do your position? What do you need to serve the children? Unless you're doing those things, your community is going to have problems. If you do these things from the beginning and consistently, many problems will never emerge. I want to mention one more thing about this as you're listening to your community members when you ask these things. Keep in mind exhaustion. I've been very concerned lately as I've seen some things on the internet, some things coming from friends of mine. I believe we have way too many people working in an almost ongoing state of exhaustion. That is something that administrators, co-workers need to work together on so that that's not happening. People need to be rested, they need to have enough physical sleep, but they also need to be emotionally rested. Make sure you're doing things together with your community, and make sure that you have a way of managing the expectations with the idea that your community members are going to take care of themselves. You can't serve the children if you don't take care of yourself. There's no way you can be at your best. So I encourage you, as you get ready to start the school year, if you've already started, make time to figure out ways to put these important pieces in place to support your community.